All right, good evening, everyone, and you're welcome to today's episode on ID Med Health. And today we have one of the foremost and very wonderful men that is practicing pharmacy and also a public health practitioner too, in the person of pharmacist Ima Shibogo. Ima, you're welcome to 30 Minutes on ID Med Health today.
All right, good evening, Ebuka. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. So how's it been? How is Rio this evening?
Uh, yeah, it's okay. There's no rain. Everywhere
Mm,
is cool. It's okay.
okay. So we're going to be discussing pre-exposure prophylaxis of HIV uh, with pharmacist Ima. And of course, we know and we understand that HIV has been one of the top issues that has been bedeviling our health system in the world, and most especially in Nigeria. So, pharmacist Ima, what is PrEP, that's PrEP, pre-exposure prophylaxis?
Okay. Pre-exposure prophylaxis of
Yeah.
HIV. It's a medicine or medication which people who are at substantial risk of contracting HIV take in order to prevent HIV. So as we know, people take Fansida, or should I go by the brand name Amala, they take it to prevent malaria. So there's also a room for that in HIV program, whereby there's a medication you take in order to prevent HIV infection.
Okay. So, are there example of these people that are um, at risk of contacting HIV that need to be taking this? Are there people you can call or people you can mention? Is it like
Okay.
it's a career thing or?
So, there are people who are at substantial risk of contracting HIV. Example, people that when there's inconsistent use of condom, you use condom today, you don't use tomorrow, and in case of condom breakage, then people, it's used for serodiscordant couple. So what I mean by serodiscordant is when one partner is HIV positive and the other is HIV negative. So sometimes another example is when the person who is HIV positive
Mm,
is unsuppressed, like the viral load is unsuppressed. So one of the goals of USAID in HIV program is to is for epidemic control, and one of which is to make sure the viral load of our HIV clients is undetectable. So there's something in HIV program we call U is equals to U, that is undetectable is equals to untransmittable. And it's a person who has a viral load that is undetectable will not be transmissible. So another set of people who are substantial risk of having contracting HIV, it's, it's a person who has used PEP in the past. Mind you, there's a
mm,
difference between PrEP and PEP. PrEP is pre-exposure prophylaxis, while PEP is post-exposure prophylaxis. That means you've been exposed already.
okay.
So if you've used it in the past, it's a different drug. If you use it in the past, you have substantial risk. Then for partner, for partners, maybe a partner who is not also faithful, is also at substantial risk, and even the faithful partner is also at substantial risk, because if the cheating partner goes out and maybe contracts it, definitely he or she might come back and give it to the faithful partner. So these are some of the people who are at substantial risk of contracting HIV.
Okay. I was going to ask because I was going to ask, even though you've touched it a bit, but then uh, even though again that's not just the major thing we're talking about today, you made mention of post exposure prophylaxis. Not just me, most people also think that these two things are the same. But what I can get from you right now is these are two different drugs. So which of them does people who say someone was raped and of course to keep the person, which of them do you think the person is going to take, or which of them is the person going to take?
Okay, anybody that falls into this category is going to take PEP, that is the post-exposure prophylaxis. That means you've already been exposed, maybe by rape, maybe sexual intercourse, maybe by needle prick, maybe by blood transfusion, or maybe transplant. So as far as you've been exposed already, we are not going to give you drug for PrEP. We'll give you for PEP, that is post-exposure prophylaxis.
Okay. So I understand that for you to take this PrEP, you shouldn't, if I'm correct, it's not for someone who already have HIV, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Like we have eligibility criteria for people who are supposed to take PrEP. According to WHO, we have 7 eligibility criteria. One, the person must be HIV negative.
okay.
Secondly, there must be no known exposure to HIV infection in the last 72 hours. So if have been any there have been no exposure in the last 72 hours, the person will go for PEP. Thirdly, no sign of acute infection, such as rashes, flu-like symptoms, swollen glands. When the person presents to the clinic, the clinician is supposed to inspect for signs of acute HIV infection. Then the person is not supposed to be allergic to any of the medications in PrEP. For example, one of the medications is tenofovir. So tenofovir is contraindicated in persons with kidney problems. So another criteria is the person must have willingness to take PrEP. The person should not be forced, so that it creates room for non-adherence. And one that is very, very important is the person must have a creatinine clearance greater or equal to 60 milliliters per minute. At least this test will tell us how functional the person's kidney is. So these are the eligibility criteria before, and you must pass 7 of them. So if you're having 6 over 7, you are not eligible.
So what if someone who is HIV positive takes it? Is there going to be a tragic effect, or is it just that it will be effective?
For HIV positive, this PrEP drug has just 2 antiretrovirals. There is the tenofovir and the lamivudine. But for our HIV clients, we use ART, that is antiretroviral therapy, which must have combination of 3 medications. So when you are placing them on just CL, which is just 2 medications, you are increasing the risk of HDR, which is HIV drug resistance. So that's it.
Okay. So what I would understand now is PrEP place you in a safety position, even if you're not efficient in your use of condom and the rest. So does it mean with PrEP you should totally abandon the use of condom? Because if PrEP is doing what condom is supposed to do, then why PrEP? Why condoms?
Okay. In our service to offering PrEP, we also offer condoms to these people.
Okay.
So while 2 of them go hand in hand, is that there might be breakage in the use of condoms.
Okay.
And sometimes along the line, someone might say, "Oh, I like it." Okay, like people will say, "I like it raw. I don't want to even use it." There might be the condom might not be available at the moment, and you know how the hormones in the body operate. So this is why we mostly combine both of them in our HIV services.
Okay. Okay. So if I, but then I want to know if I can decide to actually continue with the prep, and if one can decide to actually continue with the prep and just dump the HIV. Is it advisable? Even though most times it's ethical, you give both of them together. But do you think if someone comes to you as a medical practitioner, and what would you advise in that situation? Can you tell him, okay, you can go ahead and stop using it?
Stop using the condom.
Yes, because you're on prep
Okay.
now.
Okay. PrEP, this PrEP only prevents HIV. It doesn't prevent against other STIs. So
Oh,
while we are giving, and STIs, the chances of you contracting HIV.
okay.
So, and because definitely your immune system is already fighting the disease, so your body is already compromised to anything. So that's why we mostly give them. Even in our HIV service, we have the female condoms too.
Oh,
So we normally say they should go hand in hand so as to protect against
okay.
HIV and protect against other STIs.
Okay, but then how long do you think one can take this prep? Like, is it something one has to take for lifetime, or is it something you have to take for say 1 month and good, you are good to go, or you just have to continuously taking it for it to work?
Okay. First of all, okay, let me make this clear. If you are starting PrEP today, you should not
Mhm.
expose yourself to HIV because it takes at least 7 days to reach the peak level in your body to be able to prevent HIV. And if you want to stop PrEP, you have to stop it 28 days. But let me just say a month after the last exposure. So if you want to stop, people that mostly stop in our HIV program are people where there is no substantial risk anymore, who maybe if their partners were cheating, they decided to become faithful. Maybe their partners that were unsuppressed are now suppressed, and maybe their partners that were not on ART are not taking ART. So yeah, if the substantial risk has been eliminated, definitely we can decide to stop PrEP.
Okay, so like for instance, if I should start taking prep today, uh, how long will I take it before it starts becoming effective in my body?
Okay? You have to take it for 7 days, at least a minimum of 7 days.
Mm.
When you are done and close to when you I'm done with taking PrEP, you have to take it. Maybe your the last exposure, if today was the last day you had several intercourse and you said, okay, after today I'm done with this PrEP, you still have to take that PrEP for another 28 days in order to close any gap, any way that might get infected.
Okay, so in Nigeria, one of the things that I think there have been uh, there is this how do I put it? People really do not. I think there's this for the lack of words to use, people don't like showing themselves to be HIV positive. Oh, sorry, not just HIV positive. They don't like talking about HIV. Like uh, whenever you ask someone, guy, when was the last time you went for HIV test? It was like, forget that thing. Like people don't like the idea of talking about HIV. Now, we also know that for people who has been exposed, because from what you said, PEP is post exposure is different. They can approach the hospital and probably they will have to go through test or something. How do people who want prep right now, how do they go about it as a professional? What do you think? How do you think they'll have to go through it?
Okay. Um, there are ways in which this how we showcase our this services. Sometimes when we go out to the community test and immediately we test and you are negative, definitely we can cancel you on PrEP. Some people will come to the facility by themselves, maybe after, because we've had where a woman will just come and say, okay, my husband is cheating or is unfaithful, that she does not want to contract HIV, what will she do? So some people come on their own, while sometimes we go to the field or we go and meet them to offer these services. So we've noticed that people that come on their own have adherence issues. They are adherent because they came for it by themselves. While people that we go out to meet, most of the time they're not adherent. So there's also a risk of stigmatization because if with your PrEP, if someone should see it, the person will think you're really positive in the interpretation. So we are trying to do a sensitization program in our community here, where we want to tell these people that this is not a do or die affair, that you can live with this thing and you can even prevent it. So there are many ways we are taking now in the health sector in order to make sure that the stigmatization is reduced.
So is it free?
Absolutely. HIV drugs are free. Even the because what in HIV, what even kills is not even the HIV itself, it's the opportunistic infection like tuberculosis, so even the drugs for the opportunistic infections are free. The ART drugs are also free. Everything is free in the HIV program.
Okay, so what about a woman who is pregnant? Do this drug place them at any risk, or people who have there are people who have already compromised immune system, not as a result of HIV/AIDS or something? So, what do you say about these people? Do you give them these drugs too, or are they exempted?
Okay, just like you said, the pregnant compromised because of their pregnancy. So even in our health program, they are one of our top priorities for this PrEP. So it's safe in pregnant and breastfeeding women. So yes, there have not been there have not been reports of any maybe abortion or maybe any neurological effects on the baby. So it's completely safe for pregnant and breastfeeding women. Actually, in our program, they are one of our top priorities because of their stage, their pregnancy, they are already compromised. Thank you.
Okay. So, what of is there any contraindications with other drugs, or we say maybe major side effects when the drug is taken, or are there anything one might need to know about it? Like, let me not just go and take drugs for to help me with this, and at the end of the day, the drugs now have to deal with me in this other way. So, of course, I believe there must be a side effect for every drugs one have to take. So, what do you think, or what is the side effect of PrEP?
Okay. The common side effects of PrEP, which is tenofovir and amivudine, which comes as a single tablet, 300 milligram, 300 milligram. It comes in 30 tablets per bottle. So the side effects one will experience or might not even experience, they are sick, you might experience headache, you might experience dizziness, and you might experience stomach upset. These are three side effects that are very common. And within 2 weeks, they are supposed to have gone away. Then, just like I said in one of the eligibility criteria is that your creatinine clearance has to be greater or equal to 60 ml per minute. So this test helps us to know how functional your kidney is. So once you have a kidney problem or your creatinine clearance is below 60, definitely you are not supposed to take PrEP because of tenofovir. Tenofovir is contraindicated in people with kidney issues.
Okay. Okay. So of course we know that once anyone plays transit with his drug, there must be an effect. But do you think there is any major effect if one decides not decision, probably mistakenly misses few days during the time? Is there any major effect? Not like the person intentionally did it. You know, there are sometimes you just wake up, you just need to do some things, and before you know it, you just forget. So, does it mean the person will not have to start from beginning, or what do you think is?
Okay. When it missed, um, what the person should do is immediately the person notices that it has been missed, the person should go ahead and take the tablets. But in a situation where maybe the person notices that he has made it and is very, very, very close to the next dose, maybe an hour, the person should leave it and go for the next dose because you can't take it now and the next one I'll take the next dose. So there's no much effect because you are not even positive yet. So it's possible the people that are positive that really have a problem with it. Though it might cause uh, okay, it's not going to cause anything actually. It's just that for the people who are on normal ART, if they should miss their dose, it might lead to HIV drug resistance. So for the people taking PrEP, it might not actually be a problem since they are negative.
So, which time of the day do you think it's fair to take this drug since it has side effects that could
Okay. Um, we can take it anytime. That's why during counseling, we normally give an open-ended question to the person requesting for PrEP that when do you think it would be okay for you? So as to avoid non-adherence, just like you said now, the person, what is someone that misses the dose? Somebody can decide maybe every morning by 7 o'clock, the person sleeping in Lagos, even by 6, person is already out. So we give room, we are give that avenue that when do you want to take your drugs? Then if the person says by 5, even in the evening or by 6, the person has to maintain.
Okay, I think I lost what you said the last time. Maybe you can repeat it again. There was a bridge in
Okay.
network
Okay.
transmission.
I said, okay, for the dosing, okay, let me just even, for the dosing, we have two types of dosing. We have the daily dosing and we have the event-driven dosing. So for the daily dosing, that's what we normally use in our program.
Okay.
But for other, maybe other NGOs, other IPs that are in charge of MSM, that is men that have sex with men, they either use the daily or the event-driven dosing. The event-driven dosing is, we sometimes call it 2+1+1, whereby you take 2 tablets of this PrEP between 2 to 24 hours. But that is another, we'll talk about that another day. So the best time is what the person asking for PrEP wants. So we ask you what time is best for you. So if you say by 4 p.m., definitely you start taking it by 4 p.m. every day. If you say by 1 a.m., you can wake up and make sure you take it by 1 a.m. So it's an open-ended question we give to them.
Okay. So I have this last question, and someone asked me the question, uh, and I told the person he could join us to get the answer, and I'm not so sure that I wouldn't forget asking it. And the question is this: from the way the woman is talking, I think both the husband and herself are positive. They are HIV positive, and now they have a young kid. They have children, and she's asking, these children are negative. So she's asking, is there anything they can, because every day that these children live with them, they have high risk of contacting it, because there are several sharp objects, knife and everything in the house that could actually lead to their fluids coming together. So she's asking, is it safe to give this drug to children, most especially children below 10 years of age, 5 years of age? Don't you think it's going to overburden their liver and their kidney?
Okay. Right now, we reserve this PrEP drug for adults,
Okay.
because even the dose at which it comes is adult dose, like 300 milligrams for 300 milligrams for lamivudine. So for the children, he has to just find mechanism on how to keep them safe. Right now, we're not using it for them because of the side effects of the material. Because along the line, it might weaken the kidney, and children, we are still trying to keep some of their organs. So definitely, we're not giving children right now, except maybe later in the future when studies have been done on the best way to go about.
So, are there any ways you can suggest for this woman who might probably be watching this program right now? Are there possible ways you can suggest to her how to um, at least help in prevent, because she's at fix right now, and every day she lives in fear, in possible fear of these children contacting this thing. So, are there any suggestion, per se, professional advice you can give her since she can't use this drug for her children?
Okay. Okay. I earlier said we are using this word in the HIV program. U is equals to U. That is undetectable equals to untransmittable. So if
Okay.
she really wants to help her children, she has to be consistent. Her and her husband, they have to take their medication appropriately. The moment they start taking their medication appropriately, their viral load becomes suppressed and even undetectable. So even if the children come in contact with their blood, they won't be infected because it's undetectable.
Hmm.
So this is one of the most assured ways of helping our children.
Hmm. All right. I think we had a wonderful day here with Ima, pharmacist Ima Shibogo. Ima, thank you so much for joining us, and I think you've made so much things clear. I always know that you are bossing.
Thank
So,
you.
Ima, thank you so much for joining us this evening. And viewers, we had Ima with us today, and we talked about pre-exposure prophylaxis. And I believe that whatever you need to know about this has been broken down by our pharmacist here. And for everyone who is watching us, I think you must have had at least so much information that have dropped here today. But then before we go, Emma, do you have any final word for us?
Okay. What I want to say is that we should, you as adults, we should stop this stigma. We should reduce or even stop stigmatizing people living with this condition. And I also want to tell everybody that in case or you come across any case of rape or maybe sharp objects, needle prick, or any suspected exposure, the first thing you should do is not to cry or to just go and lie down on your bed. Try and report to the health facility. I'm assuring you that if you report to the health facility within 72 hours, the chances of you coming out negative after taking PEP, that is post exposure, is 99%. So I want our viewers out there to just check by the health facility if they come in contact with HIV infection.
All right, you've heard what Emma said. So in case if there is any issue, don't pray for it and something happens wrongly. I think instead of trying to shed tears, you need to be proactive by visiting a hospital so that some of these medications can be given to you. And of course, like Emma said, it boosts your possible chances of not contacting this deadly disease by 99%. That's a wonderful one. So for our viewers out there, thank you for watching us this evening, and for Emma, thank you for being with us this evening. We'd like to
All
have you
right.
some of the time.
Thank
All
you very
right.
much.